Cats are famous for being independent. So why does yours follow you into almost every room, even the bathroom? You walk into the kitchen. Tiny footsteps follow. You head upstairs. The footsteps follow again. You stop. They stop. You turn around, and there they are, watching, waiting, following. Most cat owners experience this behavior, but very few ever ask the question that makes it truly fascinating. Why would an animal known for independence choose to spend so much time moving wherever you move? Is your cat looking for food, attention, entertainment? Or could it be following you for a reason most people completely misunderstand? The answer begins with something many cat owners never realize. Your cat is constantly studying its environment, far more than it appears. While humans often focus on what is happening right now, cats are experts at tracking patterns. Who enters the room? Who leaves? Which doors open? Which sounds happen before dinner? Which footsteps belong to which person? Their world is built from observation, and that ability helped their ancestors survive for thousands of years. Long before cats lived in warm homes, their wild ancestors survived largely alone. Unlike wolves, they didn't rely on a pack. Every decision mattered. Every unfamiliar sound mattered. Every movement mattered. Observe first, act second. That strategy became deeply wired into feline behavior. And even though your cat now sleeps on a comfortable bed, that ancient instinct never disappeared. It simply moved indoors. Now think about your own daily routine. You wake up, you make coffee, you move between rooms, you open doors, you create sounds, you interact with the environment. From your cat's perspective, you are one of the most important moving parts inside its territory. And here's where things become interesting. Following you isn't always about wanting something. Sometimes, your cat may simply be gathering information. Where are you going? What's happening? Has the routine changed? Is something different today? For an animal that evolved by carefully reading its surroundings, keeping track of important changes can feel completely natural. But that still doesn't explain something strange, because many cats don't follow everyone. They often choose one specific person, one person they follow more than anyone else. Why? Researchers have spent years studying how domestic cats form social bonds. And what they discovered surprised many people. For decades, cats were often described as distant, independent, even emotionally detached. But modern research paints a very different picture. In 2019, researchers from Oregon State University published a study in the journal Current Biology. Their findings suggested that many cats form secure attachment bonds with their owners. In other words, cats may develop emotional relationships that are far stronger than people once believed. That doesn't mean your cat sees you as another cat. And it certainly doesn't mean cats behave exactly like dogs. They don't. Cats communicate differently. They build trust differently. And they show attachment differently. Which brings us to a fascinating possibility. What if your cat isn't following you because it needs food? What if it isn't following you because it's bored? What if your cat is following you because in its world, you have become one of the most important sources of comfort and predictability? And if that's true, why do some cats choose one person over everyone else? The answer may reveal something surprising about how your cat sees you. And it has far less to do with ownership than most people think. So, why does your cat follow you, but seem almost indifferent to everyone else? The answer may have less to do with food, and far more to do with familiarity. Cats don't build trust overnight. They build it quietly, one predictable moment at a time. The person who respects their space. The person whose voice always sounds familiar. The person whose routine rarely feels threatening. Over weeks, months, sometimes years, that person becomes part of the cat's mental map of safety. Maybe you've seen it yourself. You're answering emails at your desk. The house is completely quiet. A few moments later, without making a sound, your cat walks into the room. It doesn't meow. It doesn't ask for food. It simply circles once, lies down nearby, and quietly stays. No demands, No performance, just presence. That simple moment may say more than most owners realize. Researchers have spent the last decade changing the way we understand domestic cats. In 2019, researchers at the Oregon State University, publishing in Current Biology, found that many cats form secure attachment bonds with their owners, similar in pattern, though not identical, to the secure attachment seen in young children with their caregivers. That doesn't mean your cat depends on you every second. It means your presence can become something familiar, something predictable, something reassuring. And for an animal that has always survived by reading its environment, predictability matters, perhaps more than affection itself. But here's the fascinating part. Cats don't always show trust by asking for attention. Sometimes trust looks surprisingly quiet. It looks like sleeping in the same room, following you down the hallway, resting a few feet away while you cook dinner, watching you fold laundry, simply choosing to be where you are. For humans, silence often feels like nothing. For cats, silence can be communication. But before we go any further, there's one important exception every cat owner should know. If your cat suddenly begins following you much more than usual, especially if that change appears together with loss of appetite, weight loss, hiding, restlessness, confusion, or unusual vocalizing, don't assume it's simply becoming more affectionate. Behavior should always be understood as part of the bigger picture. When several unusual changes appear together, a veterinary examination is the safest choice. Fortunately, for most healthy cats, the explanation is much simpler. Your cat probably isn't following you because it can't be alone. It's following someone who has become an important part of its daily world. Perhaps that's the biggest misunderstanding people have about cats. We expect love to be loud. Dogs wag their tails. People hug. Friends smile. Cats often speak a much quieter language, a language of routines, of quiet observation, of peaceful companionship, of simply choosing to stay close. So the next time you hear those tiny footsteps following you from one room to another, don't immediately assume your cat wants something. Maybe it simply wants to know where one of the most familiar parts of its world has gone. For years, people believed cats were distant. Maybe we were simply listening for the wrong language. Because cats rarely say, "I need you." Instead, they quietly say, "I'm comfortable with you." And for a cat, that may be one of the deepest forms of trust it can give. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden psychology behind feline behavior, subscribe to Cat Mind Code, because every week we'll explore the fascinating science that helps us understand our cats a little better. And you may discover they've been communicating with you all along.